up, get out right out of your bed, that's your quicksand. Getting rid anxiety and head, you can fix it. Rid of stigmas, all of them you said, we ain't listening. Just remember, try to do your best, you can win this. Maurice Benard, State of Mind.
Okay, this is Sunday State of Mind. On this State of Mind, I want to talk about what happened to me about a month ago. And I know people will say, why are you doing that? Well, it's what State of Mind is all about. It's just, I talk about everything that happens to me every weekend, with the guests usually. But right now we have no guests. It's just me. And what I want to do is I don't want to relive it. I just want to tell the story of what happened, because I think reliving it gets me in somewhat of trouble. So here we go. About a month ago, anxiety came knocking, and of course I couldn't tell the triggers, and a lot of that is my fault, not going to therapy like I should, and everybody should. It's one of those things. Plus, I was playing a character on General Hospital that is bipolar and off his medication, but I'm not going to say that was the reason. That may have been a little bit of the reason. The main reason was that I started feeling anxiety, and then my son and my wife went to Europe. And they're the two people who, when I'm going through anything, can talk me out of it or talk me down. So they're gone. Now I'm doing this basically alone. And the anxiety started ramping up. And at night, I'd wake up in the middle of the night shaking. And then I couldn't get back to sleep. So basically, I was just not sleeping well, and I was taking medication, but eventually that wasn't working. But it was the and then I'd call my son and my wife. They went to Europe, and I would feel shame and embarrassed because they're on vacation. It's not their fault that they made this vacation months ago and this happened. So I basically started doing it on my own. I did have my daughter Cassidy. She was very sweet, and Kaylee, she's very smart, and she would help me with like the medical stuff, tell me what to do, what not to do. And then because what started happening is I started like going to doctor after therapy. And it just became, and my daughter Kaylee's like, Dad, it's too much. You should just see one person and see what happens. You're going to like 5-6 different people. That's because I was losing it. Because I knew I've been through manic episodes, depression, a lot of anxiety, but I knew that the not sleeping was that's a fight. It's very hard to win a fight if you're not sleeping. So that's what was scaring me the most. And then one night, this psychiatrist gave me something. I don't want to name what they are because I just don't want to do that anymore. And the next morning, it was not pretty. Let's just put it that way. I was in real bad shape. And I called one friend who, to this day, I'm not going to say his name, but you can maybe guess at the end of this when I thank people. To this day, he calls and says, "How you doing?" But I was in such bad shape that he called another friend, and they both started praying for me. And I was praying. Everybody's praying. And it's just amazing the compassion that people have. So actually, the praying helped. I started feeling better the next day and the next day. Then I went to see another psychiatrist, and he gave me something. And the next day was just, I was like this. At the dinner, we were having dinner like this. I said, I can't take that. So what I did was I decided not to take anything. And boy, was that tough. I mean, shaking every morning, getting up at 3, 4 in the morning. So there was times like, that I just wouldn't sleep at all. The whole night. I'd stay awake because I didn't want to have that feeling. So I'd stay awake, and I knew that was trouble. So then I had somebody stay with me while I was going through this because it was pretty tough. And his name is Majid Reese. He would want me to say his name. So, but he was a champ. He's a champ, man. He stayed with me for 5 or 6 nights. And he really, really helped me out. And there's also somebody else who helped me out named Anna Demergis, who lives a couple doors down from me in LA. And it's amazing the patience that when you love someone, whether it be your wife, your son, anything, when you love someone, friends, the patience that they have. Because let me tell you something about mental illness. Mental illness is it's very selfish because it's all about my pain, how I'm feeling. I don't feel good. Help me, please. And now, granted, the pain is real. I get it. It is very, very difficult, the pain. It's just from your head to your feet, what you feel. Like there's something inside of you just going. But these people, my friends, they were there. And I would call them in the middle of the night. I would be at someone's house at 6 in the morning. I would stay there. It was just, and they never ever wavered, man. Never. But that's what true friendship is. And I realized this time because I didn't have before. When I'd go through stuff, of course friends help, but usually it's my family, right? But this time it was my friends a lot of the times. So I learned a lot about friendship. So one morning, about 3 in the morning, I was in real bad shape again, and I called somebody that you all know. And this person was nothing but incredible, helping me out. At 3 in the morning, I called. And I was on the phone with her for like 3 hours, maybe longer. She tried to make calls to get me, to see somebody and whatnot. Unbelievable. Then I want to talk about something that's very important. I went to see a doctor. And I was in bad shape. That was the day I called this other person that I just told you about. And I saw this doctor. And he was the rudest, meanest motherfucker that I couldn't believe how he was talking to me. And the reason I say that is because as a doctor especially, you don't know who you're dealing with. You could say one wrong thing and this guy, it's over. I was in that kind of shape. I mean, you should never talk to anyone like that, especially when they're in that type of shape. And he knew what kind of shape I was because he saw me. Now, if I was in my right state of mind, I would have told him, Go fuck yourself, basically. I'm sorry to swear, but that's how I felt. Anyway, on that topic. So I after that, I knew I had to go to work. And I knew that I couldn't go to work. I knew I couldn't go to work the way I was feeling. And I want to say something about Frank Valentini. He was the most generous, compassionate person. I mean, because you have to understand, I took 2 weeks off work. 2 weeks. And he was nothing but incredible. Every time I would talk to him on the phone, Paula would talk to him on the phone. And if I had to stay away another week, they would have to recast. And I'll tell you right now, if I had to recast, I'd have been in really bad shape because, you know, the guy could be better than me, could be as good as me, and you never know what's going to happen. I might have never come back. So thank you, Frank, and General Hospital for doing that. So my wife comes back after 2 weeks. And people said, you know, once she gets back, no, I still waking up in the, you know, middle of the night, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But obviously with my wife home, it was a little better. And I said to my wife, I said, I can't keep waking up like this in the middle of the night. I said, put me in a facility. So they put me in a facility. In this place, they're like cool, and you know, most of the people were cool, everything's cool, but it was like, you know, they took my phone, it was like I was going to, you know, Folsom Prison, you know what I mean? And I was like a scared little boy. And when Paula left me there, she was like the mother leaving the little boy somewhere. And Paula was crying, I was crying. I was like, just what's going on here? So I go to this facility, and as soon as I get into the facility, I said to myself, my gut said, there's no way I can do this here. No way. And there was, you know, a bunch of 25-year-olds just hanging out, and I'm like, I can't do this here. There's no way. And I did make the right decision there. But one of the cool things about the facility that I thought was cool was that I was at the table with these guys, and they're all going through stuff. And by the end, like, I have everybody talking about, it was like a state of mind with all these guys. I call them kids, but, you know, and that was cool. But I left that night, and that was the right decision. So then I got to go back to work. So the first 2 days I had 8 shows to do. Now, when in your head, when you say to yourself, I can't do something, trust me, you can do it. Because I said to myself, I can't, there's no way I'm going to go to work and do it. Now, first 2 days, 2 shows, and, you know, I made 8 shows in 2 days. And the second, and the first, at the end of the first show, there's a scene. I don't know if I could tell you. I guess I could tell you. Well, I'm not going to tell you what it was, but you'll see. It's pretty intense. And then the second day was intense, another 4 shows. But I want to talk about this because it's very important to talk about this because it happened to me, and I think it's going to help people. After the second show, I was angry, and I was tense, and it was like, kind of like, what more can I do here? I know it's not GH's fault, but I can't. I mean, I'm only human. So I went home, and Paul and Joshua were standing right next to me, and I'm like this, and Paula said, "What's going on? Talk to us." And I started going on a rant, crying, yelling. I'm not a good father. I'm not a good husband. I feel like a failure. Mental health is horrible. And I feel I don't feel good. I feel horrible that I have to put you guys through this all the time. And I went on at the end of the rant, Joshua looks at me and says, Dad, that was a great monologue. And what happened after that is was the beginning of me feeling better. Because listen, people, don't hold anything in. If you have to cry from the depth, if you have to yell from the depth, like I was there, I was yelling, crying, saying the truth of how I felt. You need to let go, because that is a release. Let that out, man. Because whatever it is that's ugly in us in those moments need to get the hell out. And after that, I felt better. I went to sleep because I was afraid that my wife was leaving and I didn't want to be alone. And then I slept. It was great. From then on, everything got a little better. And so I did the 2 weeks of work. I think it was like, I don't know how many shows, maybe over 20 shows. And I did it. I'm very proud of myself for doing it. And man, it wasn't easy. But I will say this, and I'll say it every time because it's the truth. Whether you think you can do it or you think you can't do it, my feeling is, and it's just been true every time. Every time I say I can't do something, every time, and I've been going through this for 40 years, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't. It's just too much. I don't know if I can make it. Please, just help me. No, I don't want help. Just, I gotta. Listen, you can do it. You just gotta keep moving forward. And like, it's a great saying. My wife says it to me all the time. You are stronger than you know. And that is very, very true. Wow. Got through that. Now, I just want to give thanks to some people. And I think I did it here. I want to thank Steve Burton. Now I'm getting emotional. Jonathan Jackson, Vanessa Marcel, Shelly Curtis, my wife, my son, Cassidy, Kaylee, Anthony, Carlos, whoever was in my house at that time, John Smith for taking me everywhere when I needed it. I don't want to leave anybody out. I already said Anna and Margie. We don't need to bring them up again. Man, who am I forgetting? Oh, Charles Noonan, Dr. Schaub. I think I covered everyone that was in that, that pit with me and helped me through. Okay, anyway, so that's the end of that. I just want to say, believe that you can do anything you think you can't do. State of mind. See you later.